UK during COVID. So I wanted to do a quick video just to tell everyone the process of what happened once we found out that we could fly, and from getting the flight approved to getting to Canada. So on the 6th of January, that was when the current ban from the UK to Canada ended. And then as of the 7th of January, as you probably all know by now, everyone travelling to Canada needs to get a negative PCR COVID test with a fit to fly certificate. That's including children. So Taylor, we had to get one for Taylor because he's over 5, he's 9. But anybody over the age of 5 needs to get a negative COVID test. So I had a look around, started to have a look on Google and looking at PCR tests. Now they're going to cost you about £120 to £150 per person. Now, as I was looking around, I saw test and rest packages come up on Google for hotels near Heathrow. So originally I looked at getting the Sofitel hotel, but that was in Terminal 5 and we were flying out from Terminal 2. And then I found that it wasn't just the Sofitel that were doing it, also the Hilton were doing it. So we ended up purchasing a room for the Hilton Garden Inn Heathrow Terminal 2 test and rest package. So that cost £279 for the room rate, and that includes the COVID tests. What I didn't realise when I booked that is that included the COVID tests for me and Scott as adults, but that didn't include Taylor's test. So I had to spend another £89 for Taylor's COVID test to get him the fit to fly certificate. So when we got to the hotel, they give you sort of like a little box, which is your COVID test, and it's through a company called Halo. So you have to download the app and then fill out all of your details, and that provides the certificate back to you. So the PCR test that we did was a saliva-based one, so you get like a little test tube and you have to spit into it. Now, I thought that would be really easy, just spitting into a test tube, but it is not easy. Oh my God, my cheeks were hurting trying to fill this test tube with spit. It wasn't pleasant, but I guess it's better than sticking something up your nose and the back of your throat. And for Taylor, he was fine with it. So we did that, and then you've got the absolute panic of what happens if we come back positive, and we're going to find out the morning of the flight. But regardless of that, we've made it, so our tests were negative. So we got the negative tests. We then went through to Heathrow in the morning, and we were flying out of Heathrow with Air Canada. So we got to the Air Canada terminal. Now they will ask you, I don't know how many times, they asked us about 4 times to provide these negative COVID tests. They will ask you everywhere you go. So we showed them the negative COVID test, showed them the passports. They also wanted our proof of visas, acceptance for the visas into Canada. They then also asked for our essential travel letter. Now, just to make everyone aware, they are really, really hot on this essential travel. So as it stood on the 8th, I had an essential travel letter for myself from the Georgian College saying that I was essential travel. If you look on the Canada website, it says that if you're an international student, your immediate family can attend Canada with you. However, one of my friends that's starting the course with me in Canada, who I've sort of chatted to before, messaged me on the 8th, which was the day before our flight, and she was actually supposed to fly on the 8th, and the airport turned her away because her essential travel letter didn't have the names of her children on it. Now, you'd just think that's common sense, right? That if you've got kids and you're essential travel, then you're not just going to leave the kids and go abroad. But no, there is no common sense included in this. You have to have the names of your kids. So the night before, I was absolutely panicking, contacting the Georgian College, and they were so good and they were really helpful, and they printed me off another letter to say that Scott and Taylor were essential travel as my immediate family accompanying me to Canada. So we got all of that sorted. The next thing, and Heathrow were so picky about, was that Taylor has got a different surname to us, and I brought his birth certificate, I brought a letter from his dad saying that he was giving permission for Taylor to leave the country, but they weren't happy with just that. They wanted a copy of his dad's passport. Now, for all of you women out there who have separated and are no longer with your child's parent and you want to take your kid abroad, like, how would you have a copy of the other parent's passport? You just wouldn't. Now, luckily, me and Taylor's dad are on good terms, so at the airport, and it was a Saturday, thank God he wasn't at work, he was at home. So I messaged him and he sent the picture over of his passport, which got us through. But if you didn't have that and you weren't on good terms, then I don't know what we would have done. We would have been stuck. But anyway, we got through all of that, got through to the next stage where they ask you for your negative COVID test again. And then just before we're getting on the plane, they then ask you for your negative COVID tests again. But they also said that Air Canada hadn't marked to say that they'd checked our paperwork. So they then had to check all of our documents again. They didn't ask for Taylor's documents then, but they had to check all of our other documents again. And then we got on the plane. So we were flying with Air Canada from London Heathrow to Toronto Pearson Airport. Now the flight is as good as you're going to get during COVID, so you have to wear your masks all the time. Now when you're wearing your masks, it is hot and you're going to get stuffy, and for 8 hours it is a long time to wear your mask continuously, especially as everyone on that airplane is negative of COVID. I know that things can change and you can say that you're negative, but you could be positive. So I do understand the mask situation. However, when the food comes down and if they deliver your food and your drinks, you'd think that you could just take your mask off and start eating. You can't. So they will wheel the trolley down and they keep on putting over the tannoy, do not take your masks off until the trolleys clear the aisles. So even if they're next to you and they've given you your food and you're hungry, you have to just leave it and you have to wait and keep on checking until the air cabin crew have left the aisles, and then and only then can you pull your mask down to start eating or drinking. Now they only come round twice with the drink service, and you could order your wine or something then, but other than that there was no drink service. You couldn't order any alcoholic drinks, you couldn't order anything really. You could literally just wait for those 2 services during the flight. So the flight was fine, no issues, only a slight bit of turbulence, and I hate flying, but no dramas. I was okay, I survived, and so did Taylor's hand. And then we landed at Toronto. Yay, finally. So we got there, and going through, so we were on row 62, which is at the very back of the plane. So once we landed, we had to wait for quite a while because of COVID and social distancing. They were only allowing 20 people off of the plane at a time. So 20 people, and the plane was full. So when I booked our seats, it didn't look like there was many people on the plane, but the plane was full. So 20 people and 20 people, we were there for quite a while. So once we got off the plane and walked to where they stamp your passports, that whole process was really quite quick. We got through there, no queues. And then we had to go through immigration to exchange our study permits and work permits into the actual visas. So that was a long queue. So there was quite a few people, I guess because of the ban, and then they'd started the flights again, there was quite a long queue. I think in total, from getting off the plane to getting our luggage, it took about an hour and a half. Not too bad, I think that's what I was kind of expecting. So Canada versus UK, completely different. So the UK, I thought were really strict, and they were turning people away at Heathrow and not letting them come on the flights. When you get to Canada, they were so much friendlier. I felt at home straight away. They were lovely. So they asked for our passports, our proof of acceptance for our study permit and our work permit. They asked for my acceptance letter into the college, and then proof that I'd paid. Now I didn't actually have proof that I'd paid, only on like a text message on my phone through Flywire saying that the payment had been made. So I showed him that and then said, did he want me to log into the college so I can prove that I've paid? And he was like, no, that's fine. So they weren't questioning me about that. What they didn't do is they did not ask me how much money I had in my bank. I didn't have to show any proof of funds. Now this may be different for different people because I have read that they do ask for that, but they didn't. They also didn't ask for any form of proof of medical insurance. Now, I'm presuming that that's because I'm an international student, so they know that that comes included for me in my course, and that then covers my family as well. So they may well ask you for your proof of medical insurance when you land here, but they didn't ask us that at all. Now the other thing that I thought was really quite good, and I was panicking about it a little bit, is that Taylor's passport expires on the 27th of May. Now that's like only 5 months away, it's not a full 6 months. And I was thinking before we left the UK, should I try and get him another passport? But then I was thinking about COVID and the time it takes, and I just thought like it could come to it and we don't have his passport and we need to fly. So I thought I'll just try and fly over here and then we'll sort his passport out while we're here. So they could have been funny about that, but they weren't. They were so lovely. So they've printed out a visitor visa for Taylor so that he can go to school over here. And what they did is just wrote on the expiry date that it was to expire at the date that his current passport ends. But then he showed me a number on the back. So he said that as soon as I get his passport renewed, which I've already done now that I'm in Canada, I've already processed the renewal, there's a number to call and I just phone them up and they'll issue a new visitor visa for him, which is good. So that was all sorted and I was happy. I did witness most people get through the border at Canada. There was somebody that was crying his eyes out, bless him, to the side of me who didn't get in. But I think that's because he didn't come with any paperwork and he come with somebody who did have essential travel, but he was just kind of like a tag along and didn't provide any documents to say why he was there. He just thought that he was entitled to. But most people, like, rest assured, Canada, it was lovely and it was so much easier than going through Heathrow. So if you can get out of Heathrow, then I'm sure that you can get into Canada. So after that, we went and collected our baggage. Now, because of the long waiting time in immigration, our bags were already there. They were off the carousel and just to the side. Before we left England, we organised a company called Aeroporto Taxis, I think it was, or Aeroport Taxis. That cost 102 Canadian dollars for us to get a taxi from Toronto Airport to Bradford, which is where we're staying at the moment in our Airbnb. It's about a 45-minute drive, so it was quite good. We ordered a minivan because although there was only me, Scott and Taylor, we both had 2 big suitcases each and then our hand luggage. So we needed a big car to put everything in. So it turned out it was like a big SUV that took us and it was just nice and easy. I phoned them when we got the baggage. We got through to the door. They were waiting for us, put all of our luggage in, and it was just lovely. And then the Airbnb, when we got to the Airbnb, there was just a code for us to get in the door. The hosts were really, really lovely. And it's all been just perfect. I can relax. The amount, like my greys, I don't know if you can see my greys, but I just feel so much happier. I was so stressed in England, and I'm guessing that quite a few of you at home would be in the same position. If you're stressing about getting over here, I can finally relax. We're here. 2 weeks of quarantine. Obviously it's mandatory quarantine even with your negative COVID tests. So we are currently week 1 now of our quarantine. So as you can see, the sun's rather bright today, even though it's December. So this is our entrance to the Airbnb, and I'll just show you outside briefly. So this is the garden to the Airbnb. So at the moment, where we're staying at the moment, they've got 6 acres of land. There's Taylor outside and loving the last bits of snow. So we've rented a basement apartment. So it's quite a large area. This is the lounge, kitchen, dining room. Hi, Taylor. Okay, so I'll just take you through. So this is the main bedroom where we're staying. Nice little chandelier above the bed. TV. And then we've got Taylor's Xbox down here for our own sanity. But to be fair, he hasn't really played the Xbox a lot at all since we've been here. He's liked being outside in the snow. And then I'll take you into the bathroom. So in here, they have the double sink, which I love. And I'm hoping that wherever we get settled, we end up with a double sink, his and her sink. At the moment, it's been used, me and Scott using one sink and Taylor is using the other. It's got a bath, but the baths out here are tiny. So I'm not used to having such a small bath. And then Taylor's bedroom, and he has not tidied this himself. This has been tidied by me. Okay, And then this is our lounge that we've got, TV. So we've got Netflix and everything on the TV here, which is great. And then kitchen with the island, and it's got all of the bits and pieces that we need in here. And then fridge, freezer and everything. Nice sized dining table. And then also we've got an area out here which is the laundry room. So we have a washer dryer that we can use while we're here and a table, which is great. So here we are, just going for our first walk. Well, not our first walk, but going for a lap around the garden. Get some exercise, get out in the fresh air. Oh, let me show you the rest of the garden. There's Taylor.
Woo!
Oh, having fun in the snow. And Scott, the big kid, trying to get involved in the snowball fight. Gonna end in tears. Sorry about that, Scott just threw a snowball at my phone, crashed into the snow. There's Taylor behind me. There's going to be a snowball fight, right, amazing. So as you can see, we've got a big open space around us.
Quick, eh?
I keep punching them. Do it, I'll punch it.
And in quarantine, this is all we've got. This is all we've got. I'm dodging the snowballs. This is all we've got, is a walk around the garden, some exercise videos on the TV.
I punched it, I sliced it.